Men sail the cosmic bay. From Jupiter to Saturn we'll deliver our freight on our starship, sailing through the interplanetary strait. With a hardy crew and a cargo of dreams, through the nebula's mist we'll forge our own schemes. In the vastness of space where no man has been, we'll navigate, chart the unexplored galactic highway. Give home maze upon the starry sea. We're the spacemen sailing through infinity. With our voices loud and our spirits free, we'll voyage across the celestial sea. Oh, 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 voyage across the celestial sea. Oh.
Across the stars, a celestial flight, metal warriors bound by might. Ooh, yeah. In this realm of shadows, darkness unfurls, a symphony of chaos, where planets whirl and nebula of fury untamed, sailing through the void where nothing's the same. We ride through the cosmos, a metal storm, defying gravity. Our spirits transform through supernovas and
Digging deep in the Martian soil, searching for that precious ore. With pickaxes and heavy hearts, we're the miners of the cosmic shore. On this barren land, we march as one, unearthing treasures under the sun. In the cratered plains where no one dreamt, we're the pioneers on this frontier we're sent. Oh, we mine on the red planet soil, drilling down, down, down for the treasures we toil. With grit and determination, we push ahead for Mars' hidden riches. We're truly bred. We're truly bred.
Alrighty. There we go. I'm a little late, but I was making a cup of coffee, so all shall be forgiven, I think. Yes. I hope everyone is doing well this morning, this Thursday morning, as far as I'm aware. Yes, Thursday. Thank you, music. You've done your job. Now, shh. I'm doing as well as can be. Yeah, still fighting with the sinuses. I think I've got a teeny tiny little bit of a sinus infection from the hay fever, which is great. But we should be able to get that sorted in a couple days. Hello. Okay. Good morning, Whiskey. Hope you're doing well. Definitely. Bean juice, my favorite juice. Doesn't give me heartburn, so that's great. Most other juices do.
Seeking stars to my homage in the depths of space. When no one can hear, I'll sing my space shanty. Let the stars draw near.
Yes, the first, was it 6 songs, are all AI generated. To be spaced theme, sea shanty type stuff. Yes, it is becoming a prima donna. Good morning, Samantha. Dark Mirror. I hope you're all doing well. I didn't regenerate it. Sorry, I misread your question. I don't know why it would be sounding different, but I just keep adding more stories to it. Not stories, songs. And then now we're into the lo-fi, lofi. Yeah, that sounds like a definite good start to a day, F up. Ooh. No idea why I'm starting to yawn before the stream. My watch reckons I had a decent night's sleep. I think it might be pulling my leg. Yeah, I suppose. So I did a thing. Because so many people asked. There we go. Look at the bottom. Look. It's got the codes. I made it fit. The scrolling text will be distracting, but there it is. Well, don't forget about infidelity. That's another fidelity. Quite clicky this morning. In the industry, they call it clicky mouth, and it's the worst one you can have. Normally happens when you're a bit dehydrated, and then you drink something, so it makes it clicky. Need to post that I'm live on the Discord server. Otherwise, how would people know? If only there was a way to notify people. I definitely know that it's not YouTube that is going to notify anybody. Almost a month back, but maybe a little bit more than that, and people are still only realizing now, today, that I'm back. Good morning, Henka. Hope you're doing well. Excuse me. Oh, that's good. That's definitely good. I suppose a broken watch is right twice a day. Or something along those lines. All right. There we go. Got the scrolling text working on everything where it's relevant. It's weird that it waits so long to notify. Let's try this. Hopefully, the combined chat will now be a bit more legible for everyone. Just give it a second to catch up. Or not. Here, how do I change this? Well, it's all about practice. Busy trying to get this into slightly bigger. F up. I mean, it really is all about practice. You need to treat it like learning a new language. Why aren't you working? Maybe it needs a refresh. Maybe I'll refresh it. Ah, there we go. Alrighty, now that should be a bit more legible. Good morning, Donald. I hope you're doing well. That's the minimized camera. So it finishes above so it shouldn't cut off anything. It's also flipped around that right is actually right, and then here you can see my left, just so that my face is slightly over. Good morning, Dark Mirror. Good morning, David. I hope you're all doing well. Well, most juices give me heartburn. I think the only one that doesn't really is apple juice. But there's only so much of that you can drink. But yes, like I said, 1 month in, and not everybody who subscribed to the channel knows that I'm back. That's how good the YouTube notification system is. Fair enough. Fair enough. Cider is definitely a form of apple juice. And that means vodka is probably a form of potato juice. There we go. Just turning on my teleprompter. Well, I mean, for me, it's just my acid reflux. Just doesn't like highly acidic stuff. So most of your citrus. Potato wine, yes. Definitely. Definitely an easy way to turn people off. Good morning, Banana. I hope you are doing well today. Got lots of things to distract people. Pseudo burger accent. Anybody who's new to the channel or stream reading this will think that I'm insane, which is not entirely wrong, but okay. We've got everything sorted the way we need. We've got everything closed that we need. Alrighty. That's very interesting. Clamtato. Clamato. Yeah. Well, I mean, we're heading into winter now. But we had a last hurrah of a heat wave. So the whole week has been between, I think it's 28 and 32 Celsius. Blavid Dane, welcome. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Look, I know where Tasmania is, but every time I see the word Tasmania, I think of the Tasmanian devil. Come to Tasmania. Come to Tasmania. Well, I'm doing okay. Doing okay. Thank you for asking. In a very South African way, might I add. If you want to go even more South African, you say, how's it, my brew? Ketchup is jam. That is... Sure. Some of the conversations that happen in chat are just odd. Yes, we were talking about juices. I said I like apple juice, and people pointed out that cider is just a complicated apple juice. Well, I mean, the two voice actors that I aspire to be, unfortunately, are both dead, which is Mel Blanc and Robin Williams. Other than that, I'm not too on the pulse of voice actors. But I mean, Mel Blanc is a very high bar to overcome. I am first generation South African Henke. My parents were from Britain. I'd say he was more a voice actor than most voice actors, even in his normal acting, with his voices. I mean, it was part of his shtick. Yeah, definitely. Mel Blanc just set the bar so high to start off with. And this is before all the, vocal techniques and all of that stuff that you can learn today. That we know of today. They didn't know it back then, but he just did it. Man, this is supposed to be a chill chat. Talk about whatever you want. As long as it doesn't go against YouTube's TOS, I'm very, very still. I'm reading chat. I think everybody's at least heard one of Mel Blanc's voices. Although as time goes on, I think that's less and less so, because his works are less and less viewed. But yeah, dude was a Chad. Interesting, AJ, interesting. Yeah, I try to strive by that. Wheaton's law. I like that. I'm guessing that's Josh Wheaton? William Wheaton? The dude from Star Trek? If it is from Twitch, the icon will be purple on the chat. this chat here is a combined chat. So it's both YouTube and Twitch. Brain just went bleh. Samantha, not really familiar with his work. So, for those of you who don't know, Mel Blanc did all of the Looney Tune voices, except for very few. He invented most of the Looney Tune voices as well. Porky Pig was originally somebody else's, but he took that over. But Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, all of them, he invented those voices. Don't really watch. I know of Critical Role, but I've never really watched their stuff. Yeah. Man of a Thousand Voices. His last known voice was Heathcliff, which is a different version, we go with rough and tumble version of Garfield. Not a problem, Banana. That's why we have a combined chat and a combined stream. You can watch on whichever platform you want to watch on. Whichever one is preferable to you is great. I'm not going to limit people. So, random question. Who here knows of Kick? Kick streaming. The independent, we don't ban anything, free speech, full of degenerates, Kick. That one. I say that, but all platforms are full of degenerates. In whatever way you consider as degenerate. That changes per person. Good morning, James. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so here's something that'll blow your mind. It is just Twitch. Kick is just Twitch. Amazon sells the Twitch platform, the coding for the Twitch platform. So Kick runs off of AWS and the backbone is Twitch. It's the exact same tech that they run off Twitch, because that's what Amazon sells. You, if you had enough money, could rent a Twitch instance and call it whatever you want. Yeah, it is the crypto casino backed one. Stake US, I think it's called. Yeah, Amazon owns almost everything. That is true. That is true. Well, I mean, just on the Critical Role thing, they were earning hundreds of thousands of dollars a month just off that channel on Twitch. I remember when, what was it? D&D wanted to claim some of their money. And there was also the leaks from Twitch. They were earning a serious bag of money a month. Yes, Wizards of the Coast / Hasbro. More specifically, it's Hasbro that owns Wizards of the Coast. But there were two things, because there was a Twitch leak, and their earnings was leaked. And I think because of that, D&D wanted to go after them, Wizards of the Coast. And there were a lot of very, very upset people that they were earning money. Critical Role, earning lots of money. I think they were in the top 20 top earning streamers on streams on Twitch. They have no concept of Magic the Gathering, and they're ruining that as well. Bathtub streams. Yeah. Where Stake is built off of gambling, Twitch is built off of other things. I'm not sure, but they would have been working on that for years. So it was probably under development when they were bought. I know Magic the Gathering is 2-year design period. So I'd imagine D&D is probably longer. I think businesses have been doing that since the invention of businesses, pushing the limits of what is legal, or forcing the government to make new laws. I think they disowned. I vaguely remember this. I don't keep in the loop of D&D, but there was a big thing with Gary Gygax, and they disowned him, I want to say. That's true. I mean, with social media, it's definitely a lot more visible. It's the same with weather phenomena. We see a lot more of it now, which makes you think that there is more weather phenomena. But the difference is everybody's got a camera now versus 50 years ago when they didn't. So if you saw some odd weather, it'd be like, meh. Oh yeah, definitely. Well, it's not even tweeting, it was like YouTube channels reviewing their stuff. Good morning, Phoenix Spawn. I hope you are doing well. Okay, so is the font over here. Oh, there. I think that's big enough for everybody to see. It's the same size as this font. Means that you should be able to see what the other people are saying on the other platforms. I mean, yeah. Who would want to deal with people from another platform? Well, I'm not even talking about those guys, because once the product is released, anybody can make a video about it. So it doesn't have to be specifically related to Wizards of the Coast. But I don't trust anybody who has a partnership with Wizards of the Coast and they review sets. But that's the same with any product, really. Yeah, that's very true, Phoenix. Very true. Something that you might only hear of in a newspaper months or years down the line, you are instantly aware of now because of social media. A spam emote. I could? Maybe? Let me see. Let me see what I can do. I'm guessing you're talking. Crap. I need a size. 48 by 48. There we go. That's what I wanted to know. AVD? No, it will come back. The only problem is, well, not problem, is I had voice surgery, and I'm still recovering from the voice surgery. So, with that recovery means I can't work as much as I could before, and series are on the back burner for now. They will be added again later, probably a month or two, when my voice is back up to 100%. Well, I am a Magic the Gathering player. I haven't played too much D&D. Thank you, AVD. Yeah, we should be there. What does spam look like? Spam. Can of. That's what I thought. It's a square can of spam. Thank you, Banana. Thank you, AVD. We should be recovered in a month or two. My go-to sandwich. It's a peanut butter and jam. Something that I'm not really allowed, but you know, when you gotta eat, you gotta eat. All right. As soon as we're making an emote, we can go to mode 2. Yes, Dungeon Life is available on Audible. Audible, yeah. I did, but it was quite a while back that I narrated that one. No, not normally. I don't put banana on much. I think we actually want to make this teeny tiny bit bigger. Something like that. It's a radioactive can of spam. Let's see if we can do this. Export 48 by 48. Export. Downloads. I'll try put it onto. Why is it doing that? Huh. I'll try and make it on both platforms. Okay. Twitch, I need to figure it out. Community. Contents. Nope. Analytics. Ah, there we go. It is under viewer rewards for some reason. Yeah, I mean, I could see how that would work. Okay, I need to make it bigger on that. Good morning, Matty D. I hope you are doing well today. Custom emotes YouTube. It looks like YouTube, you have to do memberships. So a gift membership, you'll pay whatever the price is, multiplied by however many memberships you want to give. Normally it defaults to the $5 one. And then it'll randomly pick however many people from chat and give them the membership. Well, sucks to be a YouTube. You don't get a free emote. For some reason. They allow members to have a free emote, but non-members don't. Alrighty. Now I need to remember how to do... Yeah, that sort of emote. Thank you very much for the follow. It is very much appreciated. Anyway, let's first do... We need it to be larger. New. What does this want? This wants... we can go with... square. That's what I want. Ding. Good morning, Vampire Girly. Well, welcome to becoming a VA. It's a long road, but it is worth it if you enjoy it. Why? Why? Less than 1 megabyte. .4 megabytes. Okay. That one would work. Good morning, Candoria. Hope you're doing well. And thank you for the super chat, Kevin. It's very much appreciated. Here's the monster. I shall definitely enjoy it. I'm solving technical problems. Well, not technical problems. Um, 1024 by 1024. It should downsize it. So it is a Twitch emote for those that are interested in Twitch emotes. Where we're going back to Stream Manager. So if we do this. There we go. We have spam. Just don't spam the spam. Vampire Girly, Any particular field you're interested in getting in? Or getting into? Okay. There is a spam emote. For a super chat is basically a donation. So you would give me X amount of money. YouTube take their cut and they pay me the rest. Now to figure out how to do this one. Right. Settings? No. You mean on Ko-fi? Coffee? No. I think they take a couple of percent. But it pays out to my PayPal, which takes 8%. Everybody takes their cut. There we go. Yeah, so that's an off-site platform, so YouTube doesn't take anything from that. Okay. Emote. Huh. There's already a spam emote on YouTube. Why aren't you working? Technology. Thank you very much for the $10 super chat, Gene. It is very much appreciated. That's not. Is this what I wanted? Emoji. Yes. Fair enough. I mean, when you're working off-site, you get a lot more options. I have added the spam, same one, onto members. So if you are a channel member, you have access to spam. I'm not doing this because I'm not locking it behind a paywall because I want to. I'm locking it behind a paywall because I have to. So there you go. There's your radioactive spam. definitely the nectar of the something universe. Quantum monster, best monster ever. Thank you very much, Tomake77, for the 5 New Zealand dollars. And yes, I hope everybody has a nice, not nice, I don't know what you would say, Anzac Remembrance Day. Lest we forget. Yes, but the F-up one is quantum, so it means it's super duper extra good. How do I... Oh, just click that button. Okay. Yes, lots of emotes. But there is a standard spam emote, even if you're not a channel member. And eventually, when YouTube decides to process it, there should be a radioactive spam emote for channel members. Ah, that's true. But you mustn't drink basically shotgunning cans of Monster or any energy drink will cause lots of problems. Well, I mean, there's so many puns you can make with a brand like that. Good morning, Wolfos. I hope you're doing well. Alright, I need to take a quick break because today I've been very dry, which means I've been drinking more water than usual. Once I come back, we can start working. It's only been an hour since we started the stream. So give me 2 minutes, I'll be right back. And back. Thank you, Squirrel. Your job is done. Alrighty, what are we gonna do? Open up a story. Go to work mode 1. I just need to check something quick. Checkity check, checkity check. Okay. So I haven't done this. Alrighty. Got that. We have that. We have this. Move the cables out the way. Why are you? A weird line through the middle there. Anyways. For those who are new to the channel, I go through the story before I narrate it, and I assign voices. The voices I use are listed down here, if you're interested. And then once I've gone through it, I narrate it. Well, I mean, that's like, what was that, 5 cans of energy drink is 1,000 milligrams of caffeine. Oh, it says it's somewhere here, but I can't see it because the lights are in the wrong places. But I think your standard energy drink is between 80 and 200. Okay. We have an emperor talking. That is M3. Pompous. Oh. F1. And that's a lot of energy drink. I mean, I'm not one to talk, but... And at that rate, you'll be able to launch yourself if you need to go anywhere into low orbit. Just... M3... M3. Good morning, Peanut. Hope you're doing well today. Four? 6. Yeah, 6. 4 will do. And 3. F1. M1. So, while I'm doing this, funny thing, whoever designed or did the interior design of the house I'm renting is a moron. I mean that in the worst possible way. It's supposed to be edge with sec. It's going to be M2. So in the master bathroom, there are 2 sinks, which is cool. A his and hers. I don't really see the point, but sure. That's whatever it is. But the only mirror is not by the sinks. It is on the wall 90 degrees to the sinks. So if you want to shave, you need to turn, look at the mirror, shave, and then turn and move around to go to the sink and clean the razor. So it's very odd. Very, very, very odd. Apparently it's the same it is the same in the other bathrooms as well. So instead of having the mirror behind the sink so you can just shave easily, it is a meter away from the sink at 90 degrees from the sink. Very strange. Ceres. We haven't had a Ceres yet. We've had Greltok, a Wartok, Wartak, Jacqueline, Ceres. Sounds Ceres. F2, suppose. M3. I don't think it was the previous tenant, because they've tiled around the mirror, so it would have been quite a major operation to put that in. Yeah, possibly. Is this right? Okay, F2. M3. No, Dark Mirror, I think you can have it all. I just will work with what's written. Normally when I ask an author for permission, I ask them for blanket permission for HFY stories. That way it speeds up the process of getting permission. So I don't get permission for specific stories. I just get permission from authors to do any of their stories. And most of the time they're okay with that. This is M2. F2. F2. Good morning, Redvex. I hope you're doing well today. Well, I mean, I don't want to do too much because we're, in theory, leaving this house in a couple months. So I'll just deal with it. It's not the end of the world, but it's just very, very odd to not have a sink mirror. M3. F2. F2. No? Yes, that's F1. M1. M3. M2. M1, M1, M3, M2, M2, M1, F2, M3, M1, M1. Oh, good. Row, row, row your boat. Gently down the stream. Belts off, trousers down. It isn't life a scream. Here we go with M15. Workshop. So this will also be M15. M1. M15. M3. M15. Good morning, Adam. I hope you're doing well. There's weird things that Sooner just doesn't allow you to do. You can't even say, like, in the style of a specific band, and you can't use a band's name in the lyrics. Oh, I'm glad you're doing well, Adam. Really am. M15. F1. M15. M3. M15. M3. M15. M3. M1. M15, I think. Yes. F2. M15. M2. M15. M10, M15, F1. M15. M1. Who's Martino? This is a new character. Okay. M5. Baron Harbinger. M6. It's got all the voices in it. All of them. 15. M1. 15. M2, F2, M15, M1, M2, M15, M2, M15, M15, M2, M15, not a problem, Wolfos. Thanks for popping past. It is very much appreciated. F1. M15. That's good to hear, Donald. But overtime is always a good thing. If you get paid overtime, that is. 15. M15. Fair enough, Wolfos. Fair enough. Like, you can't get into trouble for things that they don't know you're doing. M15. Good morning, Crusader. Hope you're doing well. M15. Three. 15. Very much peanut. $15 and 3 and 15 and 1 and 1 M15 and 3 M15 M1 15 M1 M1 M15 Who's trying to get a hold? Is it spam? Is it important? No, spam. M3 M15 Okay, that is the story done. Should copy that. Open up the teleprompter. Alrighty, we shall start the recording. Move this over here. Move this. Where are you? Over here. Alright. Recording. Alrighty. Heading into the narration zone. I'll see you on the other side. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. Yesterday, the like button felt like it was under threat. So, obviously, the best way to do it is to nuke it, so the radioactive zone protects it from any threat that it could possibly face. So, if you could nuke that like button, it would be supremely appreciated. Also, while you're at it, you might as well include the subscribe button in collateral damage, because it is also afraid like the like button. Anyways, on to the story. A God Called Fred, written by FarmWitch4275. The atmosphere within the palace walls could be cut with a blunt knife. 100 eyes of nobles, kings, lords of the great houses, the emperor himself, all within the crisp marble of white halls. 3 younglings stand ready in front of the emperor, guarded by his oversized lizardmen paladins. The court stood in silence, waiting for the emperor to begin proceeding. The court stood in silence, waiting for the emperor to begin proceedings. The 3 younglings, adventurers by trade, stood patiently waiting for the emperor to begin. Jacqueline, a tall, imposing mountain elf, Jacqueline, a tall, imposing mountain elf, normally stoic and calm, was trembling slightly. Ceres, a small but nimble forest elf, was very wary of her situation, blushing wildly as she desperately wished that she wore more than just her hunter's garb that revealed just a bit too much for polite company. And finally, Wartak, a fledgling minotaur barely grown into his horns, stood to vigilant attention with his war axe holstered on his back so as not to agitate the guards. The silence in the room was broken by the emperor suddenly taking a deep breath. "Apprentices of the Fighters Guild, you were summoned here today to explain the mess you created." The emperor's voice was not one of jubilation. It made all 3 of those assembled tremble in fear. He was not amused. "Mess, my emperor?" Jacqueline spoke, her voice trembling in terror. Ceres always looked up to her dark-skinned companion, nearly wet herself from the fear radiating from her companion. "Yes! Yes!" the emperor's voice boomed loudly, practically shaking the palace foundations. "Well, it cannot be denied by anyone that the service you rendered unto us by destroying the Dark Lord and routing the treasonous wretch Kalthar from my kingdom. The fact of the matter remains that the means by which you accomplished this task is concerning." He growled the last word out. Could you be a bit more specific?" Wartak asked, his normally gravelly voice now mildly humiliating squeak. "Assassinating the Imperial Envoy at Wallwalker's Pass to start." The Emperor's voice echoed through the hall. The silence was so deafening that he could be heard even outside the palace grounds. After a few moments of terror, Jacqueline finally found the courage to speak up. She cleared her throat loudly, perhaps too loudly. We were staying for a rest at the Warwick. Inn during the adventure. Out of curiosity, we entered his room and found this." Jacqueline reached into her satchel and retrieved a piece of cloth with a strange symbol on it. It radiated dark energy, forcing the assembled crowd to gasp in response. The Emperor scratched his hairy chin. Wartak continued. "We confronted him with this information, and he attacked us immediately. He was not able to get very far, as by the time he began conjuring a spell towards us, my axe was already buried in his spine." Wartak beamed, a smile of pride at his statement. We searched his person and his room for more information and found more damning evidence against him, noting that he was meeting us subordinates at Wallwalker's Pass. We went there and were able to take a prisoner. After some interrogation, we handed him over to the city guard, Ceres said, still blushing. The Emperor considered the information and took a deep breath. Licking his lips, he spoke further with greater emphasis. "And the destruction of the Ferentis watchtower at Hag's End? We came upon the tower already destroyed while returning to the city. A plague beast attacked it, and we entered the fray like any citizen would. Master Orentino of the Mages Guild was there, and with him the beast was driven back with prejudice. Wartak dealt a killing blow." Ceres. Wrong voice. "We came upon the tower already destroyed while returning to the city. A plague beast attacked it, and we entered the fray like any citizen would. Master Arentino of the Mages Guild was there, and with him the beast was driven back with prejudice. Wartak dealt a killing blow. Wartak dealt it a killing blow, Ceres said in return. Ceres said in turn, her voice gaining a modicum of courage. The Emperor squinted his eyes at the scantily clad elf guild in response. And the Battle of Crow's Rest, the battle where an entire legion of the Baron's Harbinger's troops were slaughtered. Wartak spoke this time with more strength in his voice. We were at the battle. It was a slaughter. The Dark Lord employed a Death Knight to destroy the town of Redhall. Master Martino, the brave and Baron... Master Martino the brave and Baron Harbinger. Thank you very much for the something. Thank you for the follow. It is very much appreciated. We were at the battle. It was a slaughter. The Dark Lord employed a Death Knight to destroy the town of Redhall. Master Martino the brave and Baron Harbinger both lost their lives evacuating the town. But Ceres scored the killing blow against the Death Knight that caused it. Everyone looked at Ceres in response. This tiny little elf guild killed a Death Knight? The Emperor raised an eyebrow at that. It was dumb luck, okay? She squealed, startling the room. I was being attacked by a skeleton and panicked and missed him, and the arrow bounced off of him and hit the Death Knight in the eye. After that lucky shot, the hordes collapsed and the fight was over. It took us 2 days to bury the bodies, Jacqueline said, her voice breaking from sorrow. The Emperor cast a gaze upon Ceres. The burning of Eladonna forest enlightened me. Ceres trailed off, her eyes now focused on another object in the corner. Jacqueline assumed that she had become too nervous and spoke in turn. Well, the kind of embarrassing, really. An apprentice mage asked us to test a spell that he was working on. It failed. That mage is now receiving the biggest chewing out in the world, Jacqueline said with a smirk. This made the Emperor half chuckle, half scoff. If it was a simple accident, then we can smooth things out with the local magical creatures. Mages should be able to regrow the forest with ease. Now, what about the dragon kingdoms? You will have to ask Sir Eleanor. You will have to ask Sir Eleanor and Sir Reginald for that information. We were never privy to anything happening with that dragon kingdoms. Wartak responded in earnest, his chest out and proud now, having regained his courage. Ceres was now fully ignorant of the world around her, jaw agape at the sight of something. A guard, annoyed that this Emperor's presence was being ignored, moved forward and stood by her. Normally, a girl like Ceres would be terrified at a close proximity of one of the king's lizard men, but she remained distracted. The guard followed her line of sight, and what he saw nearly made him drop his war pike. The Emperor remained undaunted and continued, And the massacre at Thornbreaker, care to explain that? We were at the inn there, and the bandit raid hit the town. There was a lot of them, maybe 7 different clans attacked at once. Overran the guards, wiped out the town completely. Casualties were due. I just realized something. I didn't change to streamer mode. So I got to start from the beginning. Yay. Streamer mode. Recording. Okay. Attempt number 2. From the top, definitely. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called A God Called Fred, written by Farmwitch4275. The atmosphere within the palace walls could be cut with a blunt knife. 100 eyes of nobles, kings, lords of the great houses, the emperor himself, all within these crisp marble white halls. 3 younglings stand ready in front of the emperor, guarded by his oversized lizardmen paladins. The court stood in silence, waiting for the emperor to begin proceedings. The 3 younglings, adventurous by trade, stood patiently waiting for the emperor to begin. Jacqueline, a tall, imposing mountain elf, normally stoic and calm, was trembling slightly. Ceres, a short but nimble forest elf, was very wary of the situation, blushing wildly as she desperately wished that she wore more than just her hunter's garb that revealed just a bit too much for Polite's company. And finally, Wartak, a fledgling minotaur, barely grown into his horns, stood to vigilant attention, with his war axe holstered on his back, so as to not agitate the guards. The silence in the room was broken. The silence in the room was broken by the emperor suddenly taking a deep breath. Apprentices of the Fighters Guild, you were summoned here to explain the mess you created. The emperor's voice was not one of jubilation. It made all 3 of the assembled tremble in fear. He was not amused. Mess, my emperor, Jacqueline spoke, her voice trembling in terror. Ceres always looked up to her dark-skinned companion, nearly wet herself from the fear radiating from her companion. Yes! The emperor's voice boomed loudly, practically shaking the palace foundations. Well, it cannot be denied by anyone that the services you rendered unto this... it cannot be denied by anyone that the service you rendered unto us by destroying the Dark Lord and routing his treasonous wretch Calthar from my kingdom. The fact of the matter remains that the means by which you accomplished this task is, concerning. He growled that last word out. Could you be more specific? Wartak asked. His normal gravelly voice now a mildly humiliating squeak. Assassinating an Imperial envoy at the Wallwalker's Pass. Assassinating an Imperial envoy at the Wallwalker's Pass. To start, the Emperor's voice echoed through the hall. The silence was so deafening that he could be heard even outside the palace grounds. After a few moments of terror, Jacqueline finally found the courage to speak out. She cleared her throat loudly, perhaps too loudly. We were staying for rest at the Warwick Inn during the adventure. Out of curiosity, we entered his room and found this. Jacqueline reached into her satchel and retrieved a piece of cloth with a strange symbol on it. It radiated dark energy, forcing the assembled crowd to gasp in horror. Response. The Emperor scratched his hairy chin. Wartek continued. We confronted him with this information, and he attacked us immediately. He was not able to get very far, as by the time he began conjuring a spell towards us, my axe was already buried in his spine. Wartak beamed, a smile of pride at this statement. We searched his person and his room for more information, and found more damning evidence against him. Noting that he was meeting with subordinates at Wallwalker's Pass, we went there and were able to take a prisoner. After some interrogation, we handed him over to the city guard, Ceres said, still blushing. The Emperor considered the information and took a deep breath. Licking his lips, he spoke further with greater emphasis. The destruction of Ferentis Watchtower at Hag's End. We came upon the tower already destroyed while returning... We came across the tower already destroyed while returning to the city. A plague beast attacked it, and we entered the fray like any citizen would. Master Arentino of the Mages Guild was there, and with him the beast was driven back with prejudice. Wartak dealt the killing blow, Ceres said in turn, her voice gaining a modicum of courage. The Emperor squinted his eyes at the scantily clad elf girl in response. And the Battle of Crow's Rest, the battle where the entire legion of Baron Harbinger's troops were slaughtered. Wartak spoke this time, with more strength in his tone. We were at that battle. It was a slaughter. The Dark Lord employed a Death Knight to destroy the town of Redhall. Master Martino, the Brave, and Baron Harbinger both lost their lives evacuating the town. But Ceres scored the killing blow against the Death Knight that caused it. Everyone looked at Ceres in response. This tiny little elf girl killed a Death Knight? The Emperor raised an eyebrow. It was dumb luck, okay? She squealed, startling the room. I was being attacked by a skeleton. I was being attacked by a skeleton. I panicked and missed him. The arrow bounced off him and hit the Death Knight in the eye. After the lucky shot, the holds collapsed and the fight was over. It took us 2 days to bury the bodies, Jacqueline said, her voice breaking from sorrow. The Emperor cast a gaze upon Ceres. The burning of Aldenar Forest, enlighten me. The burning of Aldenar Forest, enlighten me. We... Ceres trailed off, her eyes now focusing on another object in the corner. Jacqueline assumed that she had become too nervous and spoke in turn. Well, that's kind of embarrassing, really. An apprentice mage asked us to test a spell that he was working on. It failed. That mage is now receiving the biggest chewing out in the world, Jacqueline said with a smirk. This made the Emperor half chuckle, half scoff. There, if it was a simple accident, then we can smooth things out with the local magical creatures. Mages should be able to regrow the forest with ease. Now, what about the dragon kingdoms? You will have to ask Sir Eleanor. You will have to ask Sir Eleanor and Sir Reginald for that information. We were never privy to anything happening with the dragon kingdoms. Wartak responded in earnest, his chest out and proud now, having regained his courage. Ceres was now fully ignorant of the world around her, jaw agape at the sight of something. A guard, annoyed that his emperor's presence was being ignored, moved forward and stood by her. Normally a girl like Ceres would be terrified at the close proximity of one of the king's lizardmen, but she remained distracted. The guard followed her line of sight, and what he saw nearly made him drop his war pike. The Emperor remained undaunted and continued, And the massacre of Thornbreaker, care to explain that? We were at the inn there and a bandit raid hit the town. There were a lot of them. Maybe 7 different clans attacked at once. Overran the guards and wiped the town out completely. Casualties were due to their sheer numbers. Wartak proudly brandished his battle axe with a smirk. They took a long time to die, he said with a hearty laugh, like a true warrior. Ceres and the paladin's proximity were now noticed by several bystanders, and several beastmen wandered over to try and separate them. It was very well known that lizardmen have an all too great fondness of elf women, so several of Wartak's brethren were slowly making their way closer to try and separate the pair, only to stop dead in their tracks on laying their eyes on the distraction. What the feck? Ceres said. What did you just say? The Emperor angrily bellowed at the utterance of a coarse word in his presence. Ceres and the crowd all pointed at what they were looking at. Lo and behold, a monk of some kind was standing upside down, his feet on the ceiling, performing some kind of jig dance. Silence followed, as the entire room now sat fixed on the creature. It appeared a bit like an elf, but with mid-level complexion and short hair. His ears were small and rounded. He wore a mixture of metallic armor and a dark leather cape trimmed with gold and purple. After a few moments, the creature stopped his dance and smiled at the assembled crowd. He took in an audible, deep breath with a strange smirk. Suddenly, several dozen copies of him appeared out of magical doors all over the walls and ceiling, as if it had suddenly made hundreds of clones and sent them through 100 magical portals. Then they all simultaneously began to boisterously erupt in song. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Belts off, trousers down. Isn't life a scream? The copies of the creature vanished back into their portals, and a deafening silence followed. The creature slowly began to float in a seemingly random direction and let out a gleeful "Whee!" as he floated off the wall. As it floated into a wall, vanished, then instantly appeared floating out of another wall. Several minutes of solid silence followed as the crowd watched the strange being float around the room, harmlessly bouncing off walls, making strange noises as he did. He seemed completely oblivious to the room around him, and even appeared out of the floor several times, as if he were using himself as a ball in a game, gently floating around, letting the wall just ping him away. "Whee!" it said, and happily continued to bounce for a few more minutes, until eventually settling in front of the Emperor, where it produced a chair with a snap of its fingers and sat on it, still floating in the air. What in oblivion's name are you?" the Emperor asked, albeit far too politely for the circumstances.
"Who, me? Me, you say? Oh, right, I'm sorry. I was having way too much fun."
He chuckled and moved off his seat into the center of the throne room. He cleared his throat loudly, somewhat obnoxiously. A sudden burst of holy divine light erupted from him. Massive wings jutted from his back with brilliant gold and silver, now proudly flapping. Massive wings jutted from his back of brilliant gold and silver, now proudly flapping in the wind, and a holy aura of divine greatness emanated from him as his strange monk robes vanished and was replaced by sparkling golden armor.
"Bow before me, I am God. Bow before me, for I am God,"
he bellowed loudly. The room saturated in brilliant holy light. The light suddenly dimmed. His form returned to normal, and he sat back in his chair without a care in the world. Jacqueline spoke now, having regained her composure. "Pardon me, but may I ask some questions?" The creature moved around in front of her, slightly high up so that he was looking down at everyone.
"Sure, why not? What's up, gorgeous?"
he said, smiling wryly at the elven woman. The Emperor got a little flustered.
"I am the Emperor here. I will be spoken to." "Oh, really? Well then, pleasure to meet you. My name is Fred." "Oh, really? Well then, pleasure to meet you." "Well, really? Well then, pleasure to meet you. The name is Fred. I was a human. Now I am a god."
He responded in kind and aggressively shook the Emperor's hand. So aggressively, the Emperor nearly fell off his throne. The Emperor looked at his arm after the firm handshake, after he got himself back on his throne. He gasped at the sight of his 800-year-old careworn arm, now looking like it was... Now looked like he was when he was but a lad. "Oh my, how? Why?" it asked the Emperor. It was the Emperor's turn to be confused.
"Well, first we start with introductions. My name is Fred. Yours is?" he asked.
My name is Emperor Jub Saradonless the 31st. This is Ceres and Mortak and Jacqueline, adventurers, who I now notice are standing way too close to my guards." The Emperor looked at Ceres and his paladin. Everyone nearby suddenly found their opening and moved Ceres away from the paladin, then ushered him back to the station.
"The hell was that?"
Fred asked, finishing his tea. Lizard men and elves have this thing, and Ceres blushed from the thought of the unconventional relationship she was vaguely attempting to explain.
"Ah, I get it. Some strange quirk of nature makes it so elves produce some kind of pheromonal scent that lizardmen find irresistible. That's hilarious."
Fred laughed a bit, and he floated up in the air while chuckling, still holding his teacup.
"So, why are you here?"
Mortak asked.
Mortak said, "Well, there are these dudes called humans, right? They fought, they bled, they were born, they existed, they died, blah, blah, blah. Then they left their home planet and went into the stars to colonize the universe. Then, after a couple thousand years, discovered the secrets of the universe, sometimes through less than savory means, and ascended into godhood and create and lord over their own custom-made planes of existence. I am one of these humans who did the whole ascending to godhood thing. Pleasure to meet you," he said, tipping his cup to the crowd. "Ma, so you created us?" one of the bystanders asked. "Nope, I'm just here. My own created universe ran its course, so I'm wandering around universe to universe. I like stories. Universes tell many stories. And there are many, many, many universes and planes of existence. So, anything you need?" he asked rather nonchalantly. Jacqueline jumped at the offer. "We lost 2 of our greatest warriors in a battle with the Death Knight, Master Martino the Brave and Baron Harbinger. Is there any way that you can bring them back?"
Yep, Fred said. Fred snapped his fingers with a loud pop, the kind you hear when a balloon explodes. Master Martino the Brave and Baron Harbinger appeared in the room, landing on the floor with a loud metallic clunk. The 2 men stood up, rubbing their heads. They looked around the room and then at their own forms. Where did I just go now?" Master Martino said. Where did I go just now?" Martino said as he quizzically scratched his head. "I have no idea, but that guy over there is floating on a chair." "What?" Harbinger pointed at Fred, the god. "Hey guys, welcome back to the land of the living. Please wipe your feet," Fred said with a hearty laugh. "There you go, Baron Von Beefcake and Chad Boy the Strunk, living large." The Emperor, by this point, was flabbergasted to oblivion, mouth agape, face pale, and trapped in a petrified mid-grasp. Fred took the opportunity to look around and settled his gaze on Saris. He reached out with a finger and gently tapped her on the tiny elven nose. "Boop!" Saris blushed and couldn't stop herself from smiling.
Why did you do that? Why did you do that?"
Universal law. So the laws that even gods have to obey. Uni-law number 27. If you see a cute, boop the snoot. It matters not what universe it is a constant.
He stated simply and floated to a spot in front of the Emperor. The room remained in silence for a bit as Fred resumed sipping some tea that he magicked out of nowhere. How could one respond to the situation exactly? A literal god who seems way too happy to be here suddenly appears in your home and brings back 2 dead men in front of your eyes and performs miracles the best mages could only dream of.
"My Lord Fred, I have a question."
Ortak broke the silence.
"So ask it. Don't call me Lord. I hate that grovelly, snivelly shite. Give me the heebie-jeebies." "Gives me the heebie-jeebies." Fred, sir, how exactly does one attain your kind of godliness?"
Ortak asked, seemingly genuinely curious.
"Oh, there's plenty of ways. Step 1, fix your planet. Step 2, leave your home planet. Step 3, spend a few thousand years building civilizations across the galaxy. Step 4, try not to get yourselves killed within that time. Step 5, you have 6 options, which are as follows. Quantum entanglement cascade reaction inside of a micro-quasar caused by a Matryoshka brain. Entry into the Shroud, a dimension of nightmares and dreams where you are literally consumed by all-encompassing power between universes. Uploading yourself, one's people, or an entire species into a quantum computation network inside of a planetary computing nexus. Or an entire species into a quantum computation network inside of a planetary computing complex. And then get lost in the quantum foam of life. Attain supreme power in the mastery of magic, and cast the Emergence Cascade ritual, and ascend to the Aether with all magics. Or simply through brute force, refuse to die no matter how hard the universe tries to kill you, and figure out a way to break through the chaos matrix. Or do what I did. Ascend to divinity through hard work, discipline, meditation, knowledge, and contemplation,"
Fred said with a smile and sipped more of his tea.
I didn't understand any of that, but thanks,"
Ortak responded with a sheepish grin.
"You will, given time, patience, and a shot at the future. You will. The great filters come to us all. Only the truly great will survive, and only the truly masterful will overcome it. Any species that survives evolution survives subsequent attempts at extinction by various factors, including disease, war, famine, and hardships past. Including disease, war, famine, or hardship passes the first two filters. Any species that leaves their home planet for more than a year passes the third. Any species that establishes a presence on another world survives the fourth. The rest of the galaxy's occupants, or lack thereof, are your fifth and final filter, he said, smiling at the crowd.
Okay, thanks. We will, get on that.
Jacqueline said sheepishly. Nobody really knew how to respond to any of this. Several moments of silence passed while everyone waited for Fred to finish his tea. Fred loudly slurped his beverage, finishing it shortly thereafter. First, however, I noticed something about you, massively diverse. I count 17 distinct species here. But there is something that troubles you all, something awful, something that is ostensibly your first filter. Trogs, Fred said. That name filled the room with a mixture of hatred, fear, and revulsion. Jacqueline shuddered in disgust and retched a bit. Ceres ducked behind Wartak in fear at the sound of it. The room filled with a collective mixture of gasps, woos, and curse words at the mere utterance of the most vile creatures in all the lands. Wow, interesting response. Never had that before, so I have a bargain for you, and I shall rid the world of them. I shall be happy to pass for your sake. I shall be happy to pass for your sake the first great filters, if you could do something for me, he said, and stood on the floor in front of the Emperor. Name it, it is yours, the Emperor replied. Slavery. I find the concept by itself to be unforgivable. Slavery. I find the concept by itself unforgivable. Send any who dare practice it to the headman's axe. Release all who are in bondage, and swear on the graves of your ancestors to devote your time to stamping out vile practice, wherever you find it. Fred's eyes glowed red with hatred and at the utterance of these words. The Emperor, looking somewhat small on his throne as Fred's eyes gazed red with rage, could only squeak at Fred in response.
Okay, sir. Please don't hurt me.
Fred looked somewhat surprised at the reply. He steadied himself and stepped away, realizing he had scared people. Whoops, sorry, got a little angry there. So, gonna do it or not?
Man, of course, I'm going to have to call in favors and make some new enemies, but it can be done. Would be easier if you helped.
No, your problems are your own. I have already agreed to help you with something. Drugs for slaves, that's the deal.
Fred stared at the Emperor dead in the eyes as he held. Fred stared the Emperor dead in the eyes as he said this. A light noise followed by a slightly foul stench followed from the Emperor as Fred got too close for comfort.
Yes, sir, we'll do. Yes, sir, we'll do, sir. No problem, sir. Don't need me, sir.
The Emperor hastily gabbled. The Emperor hastily gabbled to placate the literal god standing in front of him.
So we have a deal. Abolition of slavery in exchange for extermination of the Trog. Be right back,
Fred said, and vanished. With God suddenly gone from the room, a feeling of relief washed over everyone. The Emperor scrambled out of his chair to his administrative's room to fetch his good parchment. The Emperor returned, clutching various papers and an ink and quill. In front of everyone assembled, he began to hastily write a new law. All of the noblemen in the chamber went forward to sign their names to it and make it law. Moments later, the writ was signed, stamped, and dated. Red once again appeared. A clang was heard after his arrival, making Ceres squeal like a piglet in terror, and she began to crawl over poor Wartak at the sight of the Trog trapped in a cage that was too small for it. The hideous, many-armed mongrel beast of red skin, sharp horn, long claws, and sharp tail was a horrifying sight to all present.
The women in the court instinctively hid behind any men that they could find, and the men all drew their blades. Jacqueline, stoic and brave, squealed and jumped onto Martino the Brave's arms.
Yep, nasty things. Evolution really pulled a crappy move with these things. Razor sharp claws that can tear through armor, massive numbers due to overbreeding, incapacity for reason or logic, a taste for flesh of both carnal and edible variety. And they stink like a sewage treatment plant that's been lived in by zombified skunks. Highly dense bone structure, heavily armored musculature, high speed and high maneuverability. They sorta look like zombified versions of oversized goblins. Nasty.
Fred said as he examined the fetid beast. Here, the Empress said, handing the newly written law to Fred. Fred looked at it for a time, scrutinizing it.
Handwriting, good. Grammar and spelling, good. Parchment quality, good. Payment accepted. I'll just take one for my records.
Fred waved his hand, and a perfect copy of the parchment appeared. He grabbed the copy and put it in his pocket. Fred moved to the center of the room, holding aloft the trog in its cage. He hovered above the air and began to transform into a holy form. Golden wings sprouted from his back. His eyes glowed a magnificent deep purple, and his robes changed to holy metal gilded armor. He chanted something in a language too foreign for anyone to determine, not even the mages. And with a loud yell, he slammed the trog in his cage into the floor.
Bully go splat!
He slammed the creature into the floor. The cage shattered, flattening the creature in a shower of blood and guts. At the instant of impact, a black portal of oblivion and infinity appeared underneath it, sucking the remains into the maw. More portals of smaller sizes opened up on every available flat surface. The assembled crowd hid behind any cover they could find and peered terrified at the sight. Trogs, all of them in cages, began appearing out of the smaller portals and slammed into an invisible floor, shattering the cages and killing their occupants before vanishing into the jaws of oblivion. This continued for a few minutes as every trog on the surface of the world was sucked out of its home regardless of the location or circumstances, put in an abnormally small cage, and then cast into the void of infinity. The crowd slowly began to emerge and applaud the extinction of a disgusting beast. Noblemen and peasants alike emerging from their hiding places with thunderous uproar. After a few more minutes, the portal closed and Fred returned to his conjured chair with a cup of tea.
All done, all gone, down to the very last. Welcome. Done, all gone, down to the very last. You're welcome. Now, as per our agreement, I will be back in 1 year to make absolutely sure you held your end of the bargain.
Fred approached the Emperor yet again. I am a man of my word. I am the Emperor. My word is law. You don't need to threaten me. Emperor Jube, suddenly regaining a fraction of his dignity, stood to face Fred as an equal.
Awesome. I'm going to stick around for a bit, you know. I like this place. It seems pretty nice. Trogs excluded, of course. Now, would they be so kind as to point me towards the nearest tavern? If your beer is as good as I am told, I might be persuaded to stick around and be slightly more helpful.
Fred said to the crowd with a sly smile. End of story. Alrighty. Now it's time to normalize. First, we catch up with chat. My mouse was errant. An errant moose.
Yes, definitely staring into your soul.
Judging you.
Not really.
Judging you.
Kinda. Brian, it's just well, for me, a joke. I call it quantum because the green screen pulls out the green of the can, so you can see through it. Look, my hand can't be seen, it's magic. So I call it quantum, but it's just the original flavor, sugar-free. Mr. True Electric Boogaloo, thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying the work, and that is officially the first chat message from Zita that we've had. Good morning, afternoon, Nigel Smith. Hope you're doing well. No, I'm not picking my nose. It's just one of those scratching the inside of my nose because of my moustache. It needs a bit of a trim. Yes, Cantum. Oh, he's a wizard, Harry. Or Donald. Don't know. My chat is being pulled from restream.io. I don't know what it's set to. So this is a combined chat from the restreaming service. I have no idea how they've sorted it out. Alrighty. Let me check settings. Nope. Oh. Mr. True 2 Electric Boogaloo, thank you for the follow. It's very much appreciated. No. I'm currently not planning on writing. Unfortunately, writing falls under reading, and after I finish work, I don't feel like reading, so writing becomes also a bit of a... But I've also never really done writing as a hobby as such. Sometimes I get in the mood, sometimes, most of the time, however, I'm not. Master Bori, what stories are you talking about? Are you talking about series? That'll still be a month or two down the line. I'm still recovering from vocal surgery. So recovery is unfortunately slow, but steady. So it'll probably still be a month or two before I have enough capacity to record series as well. Yeah. Yeah. And she's like, done that story. Oh. I would love to take my dad to Alaska. Probably in the summer. He watches a lot of those homesteading programs or YouTube channels from Alaska. Who wants? So for series, what I do is every month or two, I go and see who's the top-rated authors. So the top-rated stories for the month. I think I do everything above 300 upvotes, and I ask the authors for permission to narrate all their stuff. So once I have permission, I can just pick from the stories that they've done. So it may not necessarily be the new stories. I'll go back and do the whole catalog. So that's it. So normally above 300 upvotes on Reddit, and then it has to be about 10 minutes long, which is 1,500 words, to about 20 minutes long, which is 3,000 words. And the last thing would be that it isn't, what do you call it? Preachy. Let's call it preachy. So those are the basic requirements. It's my pleasure. I mean, people also do submit directly to me. So, that's the thing. I've got a Magic the Gathering collection. Pretty big one now. Not big enough, but, you know, that's Magic. I do have some comic books, I've got some figurines. The mini painting was me trying something new. So I wasn't particularly into minis or mini painting. And I couldn't get into it because two things. It messed with my eyes quite badly. And then also messed with my back very badly. So after like an hour of painting, I could barely see. Everything was just because my eyes were focusing so much. And then I could barely stand because my back was so sore. So it's kind of why I stopped doing the minis. Good night, Redvex. I hope you sleep well. Hope you have fantastic dreams. Hello? There we go. It woke up eventually. No. Who wants? I do not want to narrate adult fiction. As in, you know, sexual content. Adult is in violence, sure, I'll narrate that all day. But adult is in sexual, I won't. I do not particularly enjoy those stories, so I don't really like to narrate those stories. I do hear that Net Narrator does, so if you're looking for somebody who does those sorts of stories, he's probably your go-to guy. Yeah. Look, I'll be honest with you guys. I looked into it. On the hub. Like reading stuff on the hub. The hub. But the ad rates on that are so abysmal that it's not worth it. And then at this point, I have enough normal or non-SFW work that I can just not do it. But, you know, if you're desperate enough, you'll do whatever it is you need to do. Yes, the Horn Pub. So, as far as I could tell, their ad rates are like 80 cents compared to YouTube's $3 and up. Fair enough, Corathius. Like I said, I probably wouldn't enjoy it. But if I had to, I would. Now I have the luxury of choice. I don't have to. Yeah, there's also. Well, I think it's not a saturated. Well, kind of is a saturated, but I mean, you can't do it on any normal platform. So you would have to go to fringe platforms for it. So even though theoretically your audience is large, it's not as large as you would think. I mean, I think maybe Tumblr. I don't know. Does Tumblr have video content? I've never used Tumblr. I created an account there once, many years ago. Oh, yeah, no. So, I mean, my website, well, the website that we're designing, hopefully, there's no guarantees, we're going to put our effort into it, is only going to be safe for work stuff. So, no smut. Because there's enough places to post that stuff. They were bought out, as far as I remember. Tumblr. They rebranded and were bought out. Child number one.
Dad, what's anger?
Yes, I will. Who wants? Once my voice is recovered. The series channel is on hold until then. Good afternoon, Okieful66. I hope you're doing well. So if I get more children's voices, C4 is going to be a blast. No, not that. Insert. Oh, that's good, Brian. those situations can so easily become dangerous. Excuse me.
ASMR Clearing of Throat, Volume 1. Available in select retailers now.
Yes. Yes, it was. M3. Yeah. Well, hopefully they'll go on a clearance sale soon. But thank you. Thank you very much. It's the snoring in 3D and then the strangling in 3D as my wife tries to shut me up. The sound one makes when one snores with one's fist shoved in one's mouth. Yes. Sorry, just trying to figure out who's talking. So we are having a conversation, but it's not saying who's talking. Yeah, those sort of stories are quite fun. I think this is the child talking here. Yeah, probably. But there was only 5 episodes, and they are all standalone-ish. Not a problem. Who wants? Not a problem. We're just in the very, very exciting part where I'm assigning voices. Yeah, wow. First contact was probably 150 times. Probably close to 1,000 hours. If I had to take a wild guess, maybe more. Between 1,000 and 1,500 hours. Not sure how long Nature of Predators was. Alrighty. We're finished with that one. Streaming mode enabled. Yeah, fame. But all seriousness, I'm okay with not being famous. As long as I, can put food on the table, roof overhead, stuff like that. No worries, who wants? No worries at all. I've been on several times about adult content. It's just not my cup of tea. Not in my wheelhouse. And I'm not desperate enough to make it part of my wheelhouse, so there is that. Fair enough, squirrel. Squirrel. Peanut. Brain is fried. Fried, I tell you. Not enough caffeine. Story number 2. Oh, the second video. And away we go. We're gonna start recording. Greetings, ladies and metal gents, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. Now, unfortunately, due to an accident last night, the like button is irradiated. So, if you give it a little bit of iodine and just dab it, it'll be great. Also, probably want to spare some of that stuff for the subscribe button. Anyways, on to the story. The Aggression Plague, written by Mostly Wicked. It was a fine, warm evening when my eldest sprung an unexpected question upon me. We were sitting on the porch under the black sky when we raised all 4 eye stalks and asked,
Dad, what's anger?
An instinctual wave of fear passed through me, and I managed to control it, I think, except for a slight quiver of my secondary eye stalks that I hoped didn't give me away. It's important to show the little ones. Excuse me. It's important to show the little ones that the adults are in control, or my second and third female cluster mates keep telling me.
Where did you hear that word, son? From Karis at school.
Laris Rowe, my son, said, curling his radiator fins shiny.
She says that her dad says that there used to be tiny dots in the slide. She says that her dad says that used to be... She says that her dad says there used to be tiny dots of light in the sky until the anchor came.
I sighed, blowing a few bubbles of mucus through my breathing hole. Curus, I think, was the small mottled one that Lazaro befriended recently. That one had an unusually large parent cluster of about 18 parents. Some people don't even have any modesty or sense of tradition. My cluster was 8 large, and that was as it should be. And so... and no... and no matter... Alright, voice is gone. I have no idea why. It is just fecked off. The worst thing to do is push through it. Talking from experience, yeah. Yeah, just doesn't want it to go. No, but anything you do that will lessen this will probably increase the damage long term. The whole week, my voice has been fine. Last week it was fine. It's just that specific story is just said enough. I take all the medications I should for my voice from my voice doctor. I do the exercises from the voice doctor. So I'm a bit iffy on trying people's home remedies, if that makes sense. But we at least did one story today. That's something. But like I said when I started, my voice is very, very dry, which causes this. Let's change it to... Oh, that's why. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if this is the only problem, I think it's probably from my sinuses that my voice is dry. I think I'm going to call it. Give my voice some rest. So thank you all for spending your evening and morning with me. It is very much appreciated. It's already been 3 hours. I mean, it's not too bad. I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with me. I hope at least that I was able to entertain you a little bit. And I'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. Goodbye. Have a good one. Cheers.